Three.
What's going on, guys? This is the 5 Year Pass channel with me, Suri and Sham, and today we'll be talking about the United game versus Copenhagen, other Europa games, and the Champions League preview for tonight. How you doing, Sham?
Yeah, good. A couple of late nights here in Australia watching United Copenhagen.
Back to
One-sided
my
game,
eight.
although it was 1-0, but one-sided game. And then some interesting quarterfinals that happened in the Europa as well. So some good teams getting through, some good games to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm back to my 8 p.m. kickoffs, man. It's so good, and it's free. It's actually free to air here, but you need to get it. You need to get an app which is free. So it's called Virgin Media Player. So I feel so much better about things. But yeah, let's start with the United game. I mean, I saw the first half was kind of stale. I guess Copenhagen probably had a few better chances. And it took a little bit for United to grow into the game. But I think it's games like these, and I don't want to make excuses for the team, but I think it's games like these that you grind out. It kind of shows what your team's made of. Even though they're a far inferior opponent, it's teams like these that can really kind of park the bus and get a counter-attack goal, which would have happened against a Mourinho team or like an early Ole Gunnar team. But so just as a whole, I thought it was a bit of know-how to get through Copenhagen.
There's been a few sort of those tests of character. Leicester was one. This game was one. I think where they've passed those tests. Probably the only major one was Chelsea in the FA Cup semi, but that was just down to some individual errors. That one, it wasn't so much a character failing, and that wasn't the first 11 either that played that game. But to get that character is definitely a step in the right direction. They just need more bodies, I think, at the moment, United.
Yeah, and also to that point, 120 minutes, I was a bit concerned. Like Bruno came off. I don't know if you saw there was an interaction between Copenhagen's captain Zika. He's a Greek player. It's him, Oli, and Bruno. And Bruno, they were three kind of walking back to the tunnel. And Bruno just looked exhausted. But it's 6 days between games, and they're isolated in a hotel. So I guess there'll be a lot of recovery going on. I hope it doesn't affect them too much. In saying that, a couple of stand-up players. I thought Greenwood was excellent. I mean, it's so inevitable that he will get a shot on target. You know, he had his goal ruled out through VAR, and he had a couple of snapshots. It reminded me of that Messi. Who did Barcelona play the other day? Napoli. Yeah, that goal Messi scored against Napoli. Yeah. It reminds you of that, where he just kind of gets a shot away and you just kind of...
You don't see the swing almost,
Yeah, you don't see the swing. He's incredible, man. But I don't really think anyone else played particularly outstanding. Got to give credit to Maguire. He's played like the most minutes in world football this year, so he just keeps fucking trucking on, man. So
keeps carrying on, yeah. I think Mata made a difference coming off the bench. I thought that he just had a little bit of quality against the low block. Yeah, I think man of the match though was the Copenhagen keeper. Had an absolute blinder.
I mean,
and what better team to do it against than United when everyone's watching?
Talk from a keeper's perspective, as you are. What do you think of his performance, and do you think that's a one-off, or what do you think? What do you think of it?
It could potentially be a one-off, but it is one of those games where there could be a club out there looking for a reserve keeper. Not necessarily England, although the Championship or something like that, they may want one. But when you have that sort of game against a club like that, it just puts your name up in lights. And it was funny watching. There was one thing I watched. I think it was BT Sport with Hargreaves on and Van Persie. And they came out, the keeper was really good, but no one knew his name. I don't even know his name right now.
No, I didn't know his name. I know it now. It's Johansson or Janssen or something. But no, I definitely know his name. Yeah. He was incredible.
Sometimes you get a lot of the ball, and you just have those blinders. Under Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, there was this habit of goalkeepers just having absolute blinder, and I think it's just because the ball comes so often that you just in the game completely
against Pep's Barca.
Yes. Sorry, the keeper playing against Pep's Barcelona. Yeah.
I mean, the other one, people, you compare this to Tim Howard's performance against Belgium in the 2018 World Cup. Made 16 saves in the game against Belgium, famously. So, man,
13, so it wasn't that far off.
Against you probably call this United side kind of a free scoring kind of side. You know, if you take
Yeah.
its last 15 to 20 games. So fair play to him. Um, yeah, so let's just quickly talk about the other games then. Sevilla beating Wolves 1-0 quite late on in the 88th minute.
There
Ocampo
was a lot of
scoring.
pressure. You watched that game. It was just Sevilla would just like
Yeah.
that at the end. Yeah, they played
The,
very well.
the
Sevilla. Wolves played well, but I think they're a bit overawed by the occasion. And sometimes you just play
yeah.
experienced teams in Europe, and it just doesn't quite work. But
Yeah, I mean
kudos to
they
them
could have
making the quarterfinals. Good on them.
yeah, Jimenez could have put him ahead with the penalty, but you know, can't blame a single player. I
Yeah.
remember, I know, looking back, I think Seydu, our uncle said, was talking about how Wolves, and I didn't know this, but Wolves used to be a prominent force back in like the 60s.
Yeah,
Um,
in the 50s, just before the Busby
50s,
Babes.
okay.
There's
Okay,
only
50s.
5 teams in the history of English football since
Mm-hmm.
World War One that have gone back to back. So Arsenal in the 30s, Portsmouth right after World War Two, then Wolves, then United, then Chelsea under
City.
Mourinho. They're the only teams that have,
Sorry,
and Liverpool, sorry, and Liverpool. So
back to back what?
league titles.
Liverpool never won back. Oh, you're talking about, sorry. Well, City has as well.
City? Oh, maybe. Oh, okay. I think this bit of trivia came from before City was dominant.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So
Yeah,
City
yeah.
probably.
But City's only done it once, so.
Yeah, City's only done it once, yeah. So you take out the big teams in England at the moment. So you got your Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Arsenal.
Yeah,
Wolves were at that stage just before when the Busby Babes came up. They overtook Wolverhampton in terms of
yeah.
taking the league title from them.
And in the other two, Shakhtar doing the business against Basel, I think most people thought that would happen. Shakhtar, as usual, have a team of like 5 Ukrainians and 6 Brazilians. That's Shakhtar for the last 10 years. And Inter Milan,
I don't know why.
Lukaku.
If you're a Brazilian, why would you go to Ukraine? I know there's great opportunities, but they'd be
Well,
freezing.
I
It'd
think
be
it's
freezing.
because I think it's because of the work permit situation. Like you can get into Europe. It's kind of like
Yeah,
taking a job in Russia just to get into Europe, kind of thing. You know, if you
yeah.
were in an IT or
I
whatever it
think
is. So
Greece does something similar. You can like
yeah,
stay in
yeah, they
Greece for
do.
4 months and get an EU permit or something. So it
Yeah,
could be that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And lastly, Inter Milan looking dangerous against Leverkusen. Kai Havertz scoring and Lukaku as well, who's broken about six or seven records this season. It's good for him.
Yeah, good for
Um,
him. He was
yeah,
very much criticized at United.
yeah,
Apparently got 105 kilos. That's huge for an elite
yeah,
footballer.
yeah.
But it seems that it was a diet thing, not a fitness thing. And it
No,
wasn't that he
it
was
was
getting
a
bad; that it's just his digestive system wasn't
yeah, it
working
was some
that
sort of
well.
issue he had. Those Milan doctors, man. Remember when Beckham went over to Milan and like they
Not
took
the
his
AC
tooth out for a
Milan, but
back
yeah,
problem.
they probably
I
got the
mean,
same
those
doctors.
Milan
Yeah,
doctors, you know.
yeah. But the thing is, like, without getting too far off topic, Ayurvedic medicine, which is sort of the Indian medicine, is really just fixed around getting your digestion working. Like the idea
Yeah,
behind it is if your digestion doesn't work, nothing else in the body works because what you put in your
yeah,
body gets processed through the stomach. So if
yeah,
he's got that wrong, then it could explain a
yeah,
lot. And if he's got that right now, then
yeah,
good on him. He would have felt like he was sort of a big money flop and is wants to redeem himself, and he's still pretty young.
yeah,
So good on him. I
yeah,
do think he'll need to if he wants to fully redeem himself, he's going to have to leave Italy at some point or join Juventus and
and win
get those crumbs on
and
the
win the
board.
Champions League. Yeah,
Yeah, he'd be.
uh,
You could see him at his peak playing for like Madrid looking for a replacement for Benzema or
yeah.
Bayern Munich
I was
For
actually yeah,
Lewandowski. Why not?
yeah, yeah.
Not
No,
right
he's
now, but maybe he needs
yeah.
another season at that level.
Yeah. But the difference with Lukaku, well, the difference that made Lukaku as well with besides his medical issues was the fact that he wants to play for Conte. He's gone on and said many times that I think he's the best manager in the world and I want to play for him.
Mm.
And yeah, so like I said, fair play to him. And but likely we're going to face him in the final. So let's talk about just really quickly. Want to touch on what United need to do a bit different when we play Seville on Monday. Sorry, is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday. What do you think needs to be done differently? If you had to pick one or two things.
One interesting thing is that since the break, since they've come back, they've not really played any top sides. They had Tottenham, and Tottenham
Spurs,
played
yeah.
with a low block. They had Sheffield United, who were going to defend anyway, and then Chelsea in the FA Cup. They've not
Mm.
played any teams at this level.
Leicester as well. I'd say Leicter would be.
Leicester, yeah, but
Yeah.
United. The point I'm trying to make, because Leicester are, you're right, they're at that level. But the point that I was trying to make is they've not had to really defend. They've had to push the game forward. Even with Leicester, it was very much most of the game was in Leicester's defensive half.
Okay.
So this is the first game since the break where I think there's going to be some counter-attacking involved. Seville will want to take the game on. Spanish teams are always very good at possession, and I think they're fourth in Spain behind.
Yeah, they came
We
fourth.
know who they're behind without even thinking about it. But
yeah.
It'll be interesting to try and see United get that balance right, because I think the temptation is with that front three, just kick the ball over the top of the defense and let them run onto it. So do they go with that sort of strategy and hold the fort a bit at the back, or do they try and play like the United that have been playing since the break? I think that's going to be a very interesting question. With Seville potentially more than any of the other teams because of their technical quality on the ball.
Yeah, I know. There is definitely a difference from a team that wants to play football versus a team that wants to play the low block, because there's just more openings when a team comes to play. There's just more openings there. You see where United, even under Mourinho and Van Gaal, when there was kind of an open game, United suddenly played really well because they were able to exploit spaces much better. That's a good point. I didn't think of that actually. So yeah, it's a good point. I don't think much needs to change myself. I think Bruno's against a team like Sevilla, Bruno's going to do really well in that European style of football, and so will Pogba. Before we get to Champions League football, speaking of, Pogba seems to be pretty much on course to sign a new contract in the next few days, sometime this week.
It's very exciting. I mean, people forget that he's not like Fernandez, who came from another country. He came through the youth system here and then went off and came back. So he does have a connection to United. He's on through the youth system. All the coaches spoke really highly of him. There's obviously unique circumstances around him leaving. So in a way, he will feel like he's a local boy. He's one of us, so to speak. So I think his frustration was that the club were not doing so well. And he's not the first player to try and leave a club if the club's not doing so well. Patrick Vieira said it for many years before he went off. So to have his name down on paper, there's no doubt in my mind that he's a leader in that team. Not a Roy Keane type leader, but he's an influential person in the change room. So to have him signed on, I think that just leads other people into signing on, and it gives more stability around the club when your leading players are all signed up. So it'd be a good thing for him to get pen and paper.
Yeah. So we have a few Champions League fixtures tonight. So we have, is it not Atalanta tonight? Atalanta versus PSG tonight, Sean?
Yeah, Atalanta and PSG. It'd be
what's the second fixture? Is it just the one fixture tonight?
I need to let me check. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Let's have a look. I just completely forgot. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'll read it out to you. So we have Atalanta, Paris tonight. Red Bull Atletico tomorrow. The big one, Bayern, Barcelona, and Man City, Lyon. So So what are you thinking about Atlanta PSG? Because I think that Atlanta will easily get PSG's number on this. I think it's going to be an easy win for Atlanta. When I say easy, I mean the scoreline will show that it's easy, but it'll be a tough game. I think it's going to be a 2-0 win. I think PSG's taken a bit too much time off. And just in general, for me, PSG has never really stepped up, and I don't think they ever will. I think they played 80% all year. And given this coronavirus, they're probably down to about 40% right now in terms of momentum and tempo of how they're going to play.
There's big question marks over whether Mbappe will play as well. He's trained, but there's question marks over whether he will play.
Oh, right. He's trained. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you had the
it's interesting. If you look at back in '99, United played Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. Now, both of those teams were going for trebles. If Bayern had won that game, they would have won a treble. But Bayern had also sewn up the domestic league weeks before. And so just subconsciously come up a bit, 100% a bit. And the cup final is a one-off game, fine. But United were pushed all the way by a very good Arsenal side that were league champions the year before, that probably would have won the league if they hadn't lost to Leeds just before the last game of the season. So Arsenal had a game in hand. Arsenal had that game in hand against Leeds, where if they beat Leeds, they would have gone ahead of United ahead of the last game, but they lost 1-0 at Ellen Road. Kuhl and Viduka took care of that one. I think Viduka got the goal, but I'm not sure. So so everyone was expecting Arsenal to win the league. and then all of a sudden it was, oh, United have one game against Tottenham, win the league type thing. So
Yeah.
the point I'm trying to make is that United had to run at that 100% the whole season. They had to be at 100% to get over a very good Arsenal side in the league, to get through to the FA Cup. Obviously, the epic back-to-back games against Arsenal in that competition. And then the Champions League, they played some really hard teams. Their group stage had Barcelona and Bayern Munich that year. So they were playing hard teams. They played them, they played Inter Milan, they played Juventus, they played Munich again. So it was a tough season. But I remember when Ryan Giggs was saying, when you're winning, you just want to keep playing. You don't feel fatigued. And I think that's sort of PSG's curse, that they're so good at it, so much better than everyone else in France. I think since they were bought out, they've only not won the league once, which was to that Monaco team that they just went on an absolute tear. Yeah. So I think that not having that gap between them and the rest of the league is proven to their detriment in Europe. And there are signs it's kind of happening to Juventus as well. When there's one team, Bayern Munich seemed to be able to get that right. Having said that, they were pushed by Jurgen Klopp and Dortmund last time they won the Champions League as well. So it's kind of that curse of just being a super club in a one team country type thing versus England, where there are a lot of teams. And the teams, the thing about the English mentality as well is that I think anybody, like if you're say you're a West Ham player, for example, you might think, Man United's a bigger club than mine, but on that day, I reckon I could beat them and I could go out and I'll have a go. Whereas, it's not quite the same in other countries. But getting back to the point, I do think PSG suffer from that a bit. Atalanta have had a good run of games. Atalanta will take the attack to PSG and PSG's defense is their weak link. So it's potentially a very interesting game. It's just from a football standpoint. That's the one I'm looking forward to because both teams love to attack. Whereas I think some of the other games don't get a bit tactical. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I think I'm leaning towards Atalanta as well.
You as well, yeah.
Not 2-0 though. I think there'll be more goals. And I think both sides will score. But I do see a 2-goal margin.
Yeah. The next two games we have Leipzig, Madrid, and we'll talk about we'll come to the Bayern game last, I guess. So we have Leipzig, Atletico, and Man City, Lyon. For me, the Leipzig Atletico could go either way. I'm not gonna. I'd lean on Atletico just because I think Simeone has the tactical know-how, has the players. They've overcome Liverpool to get here. Quite nice, not easily, but they did quite well against Liverpool. I just think they'd be a bit too much for Red Bull, Leipzig, in my opinion. And with Man City, Lyon, I wouldn't know where that goes, man. I think Memphis Depay has that ability to change a game. They have lots of good players. Lyon does. Let's talk about City Lyon. Where do you think
that one's interesting, City Lyon, because I think that City did ride their luck a bit against Real Madrid, but you have to, to a degree, you have to ride your luck a bit against Real Madrid to beat them. So, but it is a big win for the club to get through there. There will be they'll be very driven to get through the quarters. I think the last 2 years they got knocked out in the quarters, maybe even 3. But it's kind of that point for them. The worst thing they could do is underestimate Lyon. We saw with Copenhagen, like, if a team makes a quarterfinals, they're a worthy quarterfinalist. I don't care how they get there, So the worst thing that they could do is become complacent against Lyon. And I think Lyon knocked them out in Guardiola's first season, if I remember correctly.
Knocked out Barcelona?
They looked at Man City. Or was it Monaco?
Excuse me, Jesus. No, it was Lyon. Man City has had history with Lyon for sure.
Yeah. So I expect Man City to win. But I think if they are not at 100%, they're very vulnerable.
Man City, as we know, Man City, they have a knack, and I think I'm not going to say Lyon's going to win. I personally don't think so. I actually think Man City is going to get that very trademark early goal and just seal it off. But my point is that players like Memphis Depay and they have this other black guy, Toko Ekambi, as well.
Is he classy and athletic?
Yeah, he's classy and athletic. Yeah, exactly. My point is they're not as much as an underdog as people say. So, I mean, they took Paris to in the cup final. They took them right down to penalties, so they lost. But
Penalties is the lottery. Yeah, they took them there.
Yeah, and the last thing, and I wouldn't say I know too much about Red Bull and Atletico, but no, we've already said that actually. So we think Atletico will probably edge that out. So the big one, as far as footballing stars go, we have Barcelona, Bayern. How are you feeling for this one?
Yeah, Bayern Munich are turning into a machine again. There's a fierceness to them, a relentlessness to them when they do really well, and they're starting to get that. And Lewandowski is just off the charts, isn't he?
55 goals this year in 46
Unbelievable,
games.
absolutely. Like everyone's been talking about Haaland and Lukaku and all this, but geez, what a season he's had. I don't know why it is, but German league doesn't get, I think, as much credit as it deserves. They're multiple Champions League winners. I know Bayern wins half the time in Bundesliga, but it's still a pretty strong league.
I'd say more.
I do think that it's the power of the team versus the power of the individual, isn't it? Barcelona right now is Ter Stegen, Van Beek, and Messi, and 8 others. So I like Suarez, but he's probably past his best. But yeah,
well, I don't know. I don't know if he passed his best, but I think he's still one of the best in the world. 35 goals and assists this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely good. I think he's a bit rusty, though. I think he was out injured for a while. So he's had, I think it's the injury as much as the age that's taken just the edge off him. He's still quality.
For me, the interesting, although I know we've talked about this before, football these days is not about 1v1, it's about systems and how teams go up against that. But I am very eager to see Alphonso Davies take on Messi because he's on the left and Messi being on the right. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch.
Alphonso Davies,
the Canadian. Have you not seen Alphonso Davies play yet?
I know the name, but I've not seen him.
He's this classy. He's this classy and athletic Canadian. So he's
okay.
I could be getting this wrong, so forgive me if I have, but I think he's Ghanaian, migrated to Canada, and he came through the college system and then left to. He was bought from what was it, Toronto
FC, I think it is. Yeah.
Toronto FC, just Toronto FC. Yeah, where Jovinko plays. He was bought from there, and I'd say he's the best young defender going around at the moment. But he starts for Bayern, and like to say he's fast is an understatement, man. The man is rapid, like Roberto Carlos rapid. So
going up against Barcelona's backline, that's dangerous.
Yeah, like McTominay was saying just the other day. I saw this thing that McTominay. I think he said it in a podcast a few weeks ago or something. But McTominay is known for being quite strong because he's so tall. The point of leverage is quite strong. And he was saying when you went up against Messi, you could shoulder him as much as you wanted. He just wouldn't go down. And I'd like to see a player like Alphonso Davies, who has a bit of everything, go up against Messi, just to test, just to see.
Did he mention why that's the case with Messi? Is it because Messi is such a low center of gravity, or is it?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Yeah,
it's exactly what he said. Yeah, it's, and McTominay's been up against both. Not to say that McTominay is the fucking word on football, but I'm just saying he's been up against both, and he was emphatic in saying someone like a player like Messi, it was just impossible to get the ball off him.
Versus who? Messi versus
Ronaldo versus Ronaldo because he played.
Cristiano. Okay.
Last season, yeah. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Who do you think edges out that game?
Barca and Bayern.
Yeah,
I think Bayern win that comfortably. I'm not a gambling man, but I would put money on Bayern if I was to pick a winner for this competition.
I think that's the most straightforward of all the 4 fixtures.
Yeah, Barcelona are a joke right now. Even selling Arthur, like selling a young player to bring in an older player, so the club doesn't have to fork out money. That was an absolute joke, and it shows that club needs new direction. They got a year left before elections, but they need to do it now. They need to call early.
Isn't the election this June? Like this June.
I think there's a partial. There's something is being voted on, but the big general election, I believe, is 2021. I could be wrong, but that's what I thought. For Messi, who's the world's quietest man, to come out multiple times, says something about the direction of that club. And just, I think they felt a bit complacent, just sort of winning the league and just fell off a bit. And it won't take a lot for Barcelona to get itself back together, but it needs to get itself back together. And I think that the leadership with that club's a massive issue.
I think I have always been against player power in a club, and I think Barcelona has too much player power at the minute, even though it's a very small amount of players in PK and Messi, and who else would have that player power? You could argue Suarez probably has a level of player power. I think it's a dangerous thing, man. But at the same time, you
It depends what they do with the power. It depends what
yeah,
they do with the
and
power.
I just think the microphones that like PK has, for example, PK is quite an outspoken guy. I don't know if you know, like he's very pro Catalonia.
Yeah. He
My
fights with
girlfriend,
Ramos in the press. Like they play centre back together
yes,
for Spain, and he just picks
it's
fights with him in
insane.
the press.
And he talks about, and he's very proud Catalonia. Like for example, like it's very well known in Spain. Like his kids don't speak Spanish. His kids speak specifically Catalonia. Like he's very very political in that sense, and you
Wow.
have that mixed with the player. Yeah, it's insane. So Kate, I was just saying, Kate, my girlfriend who lived in Spain for the year, was telling me like, oh, I was like talking about Piqué and Shakira, and she was like, yeah, he bans his kids from speaking Spanish. You have to speak Catalonian or whatever
Isn't
it's called.
that like reverse what the general did there? Because they banned Catalan, so they only play.
Yeah,
Well,
in Spain, I mean,
King Carlos,
in
sorry.
Barcelona, yeah.
Yeah, they banned Catalan as a language. So
Yeah.
the only place you could speak Catalan was at the Camp Nou during games, which is why Barcelona's got that strong Catalan flavor to it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But it's kind of
So
the
I just
opposite of that, isn't it? Isn't it like reverse racism or reverse whatever it is, you know?
speaking only yeah, I guess
I mean,
so.
like if you live in Spain, speak Spanish. I get
But
the principle, and he's a principled man, and I got a lot of
yeah,
respect for him. But that just, I don't know. I feel like it's a step too far. You were talking about player power, and I think player power has a place, but it needs to be used in the right way. Like
absolutely,
there's a
yeah.
famous story about Madrid, and I don't know any of the names, but I know it was while I think it was the early '60s, and there was a famous manager who he won the first leg of the Champions League semi-final, and then the next day he got called into the club president, like the Perez, whatever his name is, whoever that was in the '60s, got called into his office, and he expected to go in, thinking, I won the Champions League semi-final, it's all good, and the guy goes, "Sit down. What did you do?" And the guy's like, "Well, what happened?" So you dropped the star player. Like there was one extra sort of star player who couldn't fit into the team balance, so that guy had been placed on the bench. And the president just sat there and chastised him for not picking this particular player, even though he had won the game. I might look that up next time I come back with the names. It's quite a famous story, but it shows with Madrid, like the manager's really just a coach. It's about the stars, it's about the board and the president. That to me, when it goes wrong, like it has a place, and Madrid win things, so why not? But when it goes overboard, it can make things fracture and fall apart quite quickly.
Yeah. Because I think the last proper leader Barcelona had was Carlos Puyol. And if you remember that 04 to 07, when they just absolutely tore, like that team for me was one of the
more from 07, right? Pep came in.
Am I getting the years? I'm talking about Frank Rijkaard's Barcelona.
Oh, okay, with Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
Okay.
They won the Champions League in 06. They beat Arsenal. Julio Belletti scored the winner. 2-1, was it?
Yes.
3-2? 2-1. Yeah, because they had a man sent off. Jens Lehmann was sent off.
Yeah.
I remember, like, if you think about the pure talent of that team versus the pure talent, let's say, the 2011 team, 04 to 07, that team wins out easy. Talking about individual talents. Ronaldinho is the best player ever.
Ronaldinho, Henrik Larsson, who I think was incredibly underrated.
Ludovic Juli, Carlos Puyol, Julio Belletti,
Xavi
Van Bronckhorst
well.
left. Yeah. Xavi Iniesta on the bench, man. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, Deco was.
But if you talk about superstars, they didn't have player power, man. Like Frank
Messi
Rijkaard
was on the bench.
Messi was on the bench. Frank Rijkaard ran that ship. He was everything about that team. And if you look at like 2010 with Mourinho running Inter Milan and when he did Madrid, I think there's something to be said for managers having all, if not most of the power to running teams. Ferguson said very famously in his book that when they were negotiating that famous Rooney salary thing in 2010, when he wanted to go to Man City, he said in his book that no player should get paid above me. So if you're paying, he said, when he was telling the Glazers that no player should be paid above me. So whatever you pay Rooney, you have to pay me more. He said it took quicker for him to agree to that than for me to write this sentence he wrote in his book. Because he didn't believe like player power is not a good thing. And that's what's going on at Barcelona. Sorry, you've gone the long way, but that's what's going on at Barcelona at the minute. Yeah. Okay. So we're thinking Atletico go through, Man City, Bayern Munich, and Atalanta.
Yeah.
as
So
a bit of a
Atalanta,
dark horse.
Atletico, and City,
Yeah.
Bayern. So interesting semi-finals if they go through.
Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh,
be
very
interesting.
nice. Man City
City,
Bayern
Bayern,
Munich.
if that turns out.
I mean, let's not speculate now, but that would be a fucking great. Actually, even Atletico Atalanta, what a game! Just
Yeah,
two, like
completely opposite
one.
styles.
Absolutely, I was gonna say one grafting team and one team that just fucking throws all caution to the wind. Should be exciting.
Yeah.
So we have a beautiful bunch of games in the next few days, and hopefully United do the business against Seville next Monday. When
So
is it?
United
Sorry,
plays. It'll be the UCL
on the
quarters
16th.
first, and then the UEFA semis.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's on Saturday, the game, not
Yeah.
Monday. Yeah. Anything else, Sean?
No, that's all. That's all.
All right,
Nice,
beautiful.
nice chatting with you.
Yeah, as always. So thanks everyone for watching the 5-year pass, the previews for the Champions League quarterfinals, and the reviews for the Europa League games. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And Sean,
Yeah, keep passing, guys.
keep us. See you later, guys.
See ya.